Okay, so let us begin.
You want to talk to a member of the public first, that's on the agenda, and we'll do the other little things later.
Little things. Yeah.
Plats.
And y'all heard it, they're just little things later.
Plats, change orders.
Yeah, what you got for us?
Yeah, so you can come up over there. Oh, you know, over so. Sometimes that there's little things that bullet points I tried to put together real quick, just so it makes a little more sense. They got pictures of that too. I don't know if any of you guys appear to have them, but there's that one. Perfect. Well, first off, thanks you guys for letting us take some time. Don't want to take too long, and really, hopefully not wanting to come across as anything like abrupt or anything rude, more just kind of concerns or frustration we've been having. The first thing we'll kind of talk about is Eagle Rock and / DWS. So we've kind of come to a conclusion.
First two.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So my name's Colton. This is Mark. So Mark is the owner of Dump It. I am the vice president over there.
Full name and address for the.
Yep. So my name is Colton Goodworth, and then I live over at my home address, right? I live at 5920 Hugo in Hidden Valley over in Ammon.
Mark Bradshaw, 4135 Hazelwood in Hammond.
Perfect. Anything else I need to stay on
If you
there?
could tell us what Dump It is.
Yeah, so Dump It is a local garbage company. We've been around for a long time doing the roll-offs. It was 2000, early 2000s that it was officially started. But we went over into the residential like trash cans picking up in 2018. And then recently I've jumped into the front loads in 2023 or 2024. And so we've been kind of the local guys have been growing a decent amount and have been the newest garbage company until as of the last year. And so it was originally just Eagle Rock, PSI, and us. And as of recently, there's been two other companies that come into play with DWS. There is their short name. Their full name is Discount Waste Services. And then up in Jefferson County, there's a company called Waste Solutions.
So Eagle Rock and DWS are other.
They are other, yep. I don't know for 100%. I'm about 90% sure that they're working together and under the same reasons. Only reason why I know is because the owner of Eagle Rock and then the registered owner of DWS is his son-in-law. And the people that we order our trash cans from, he called to tell me that it was the same ladies that ordered Eagle Rock trash cans that ordered DWS trash cans. And and then we have video of them at Eagle Rock truck dumping DWS cans. And so in our eyes, it's just a false front for them. They don't have the best reviews on Google. Eagle Rock doesn't. And I feel like they've lost customers pretty gradually the last couple of years. And so I think it's just kind of a new fresh start, trying to get people to come after a young local company. But it's, from what we understand, it's the same. So that's why I labeled it the same. So as things to be addressed, so Eagle Rock and DWS dumping out of county loads at the transfer station. We actually hired a driver named Robert Zulum about almost a year ago now. And he worked for Eagle Rock for about 9 months and did mainly Jefferson County routes for front load dumpsters. And it was about 4 out of 5 days he was running Jefferson County routes. Some were mixed, he said, some were half Bonneville and half Jefferson. But when he was hired on at Dump It, we had to teach him what the Circular Butte landfill was. He had never been out there before. He was told that there was a different landfill he could go to if he wanted more hours and wanted to have the driving time. And so every load he ever had, whether it's Jefferson or Bonneville, took it to the transfer station and never once claimed it to be out of county waste. So
I don't know what Circular Butte landfill is.
yep, so it's the Jefferson County landfill. Yep, it's way out past Territon,
Okay.
Mud Lake area.
I see.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, all in all, it's about an hour and a half drive for a larger garbage truck, one way. And so
Okay.
it's usually about 2.5, 3 hours if you're taking the garbage truck. So
It's a lot more cost effective to bring
Yeah.
it to the transfer station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, and so hopefully I wasn't trying to be too petty, but we, instead of trying to go follow a truck and be a spy and follow them all day long and then watch them drive back to the transfer station, we just bought a couple of air tags, threw them in some trash cans that are out on the road. One of them was in my in-laws who have Eagle Rock, and so I was trying not to be too invasive of people's property, but and then we watched each of them, and that's on the back, actually. I took screenshots of where they were picked up at, and then on the back, each one of them, we put one in a DWS trash can, one in an Eagle Rock trash can, and then one in an Eagle Rock front load dumpster. And all three of them ended up back in the transfer station. That was 3 different trucks that dumped each of those cans. And so it was just kind of our little small sample of just what they do. I mean, and then I have words in my own drivers.
Understanding this stuff.
Yeah, so the
Because it
backside,
says DWS one Rigby.
Yep.
And Eagle Rock can one.
yeah, absolutely. So the
This is
top,
where their cans were.
yeah, so the top front picture, I didn't have enough room, didn't want to send all of them. So the top front, all of them were all within a mile of each other in Rigby. So the DWS one was the first trash can we put one in.
Uh-huh.
And then Eagle Rock one can was the other trash can. And then the Eagle Rock 2 can at the bottom right, that was the front load dumpster we put it in. So I didn't,
These are Hemmer Avenue. So
except for the top left, right? So
Right.
all of them were within a mile of that one to begin with, but all 3 of them ended up at the transfer station. I should have put more pictures of the Rigby addresses in here, but they all
Well,
were
I think the confusion is all 3 of these tags were put in garbage cans.
in
in
Rigby,
Jefferson County.
Okay.
and they all ended up,
3 of them ended up.
Yep, exactly.
Bonneville County and under Fort Law,
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
That's,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
3 different trucks.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. And so that's just kind of our frustration, because we've had a couple of our guys, when they're dumping, who have never done Jefferson County routes, be yelled at for saying that someone saw our truck in Rigby.
So who was the operator that?
That was Brad. I don't know who, I'm trying to remember who it was. What did it, I called you about it, Sarah. Was it Brandon? It was, okay. It was Brandon that yelled at Brad. And Brad immediately called me. He's like, he was lucky I was on a good day. I was like, no, just don't do anything. I'm like, there's nothing you can do about it. You can be mad, just let it go. But he said that he chewed him out for a good 15 minutes, saying that someone saw his truck in Jefferson County when that truck's never gone to Jefferson County ever in its entire lifetime of us owning it. And so it was a little frustrating when it's like our guys are being yelled at, which I get it. It's frustrating. There's a lot of stuff you guys deal with. And so my point is not to come at you guys or like that. It's more just the fact that I'm irritated that we watch Eagle Rock do this all day long, but then our guys get chewed out for it. It feels like. So
Okay.
that was where our frustration came
What
from.
about the can that you guys picked up in? Let's see, out to Idaho and dumped at our facility when it should have went to,
The Idahoan.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I talked with Andy about that.
Sometimes things like.
No, for sure. 100%.
So-
Yep. Yep.
To make this an even playing field.
No, for sure.
Here.
Yep.
Let's tell the whole story.
No, for sure. Absolutely. Yep. So that was a mistake on our own driver. So at the time, it was overweight, and so he couldn't go through the port, and his understanding was take it there. And he's done the Idahoan in Idaho Falls, and so in his head he didn't report it. He should have. You're absolutely right. So, and when I found out about it, we talked to them about it, and both of them know that, and so now they know that if they ever do that, that needs to be reported. So, but to help with that, we went ahead and we spent over what, $400,000 on 2 new trucks that could have a drop axle so they could carry the weight of that to help cover that.
Which is
So,
your business.
yeah, right, 100%, right. But just to help cover that, I mean, I feel like we've done what we can to do that. So, but yeah, absolutely, 100% bring that up. Yeah. Yep. And if I'm being totally honest, you want to bring the whole entire story. I mean, everybody back in the day, I mean, we don't anymore because we have our own landfill, but everybody back in the day, any dumpster that's in Rigby, it never gets taken out there. It gets brought to the hatch pit. I mean, every one of them. I mean, that's what I was taught when I was first hired on with the original owner. That's part of the reason why I was pushing to get our own landfill, why we got our own landfill, is because the reality is like to take it out to Mud Lake it's just so long of a drive that they all would just bring it here. But the out of county prices were ridiculous, which they should be. I mean, to be fair, they should be. And so they would lie and say it came from a different address. And so that's what I was told to do. It didn't feel comfortable about it, which is why we looked for the option of getting our own landfill. But I know for a fact that PSI brings ones there. UR brings them there. I mean, when I was running trucks, I would follow other trucks from Rigby all the way there, and we'd all be like, "Nope, this was in county," because that's just what we were taught to do. And so the reality is, like, I feel like we're trying our best to not do those things. I mean, our drivers are told and they're taught and preached to tell them like, "Hey, if it's dumped here, we take it here." I mean, it'd be so much easier to redraw our routes where we could dump things out in high C because the county line's ridiculous out there, and it's frustrating when you're dumping in Ryrie. But I have it split, and you can look at our routes, and it's split so strategically to help people that even every single can that we dump in Jefferson County goes out to Mud Lake, even though right across the street is another can that he could easily grab on the same day, but he has to put on a different route to make it make sense so we can dump it here legally. So So yeah, great point to
But
bring up.
you know that, I guess you know that, you've checked into it, I'm sure. That we allow split loads.
I
So
didn't,
if you have a route that you could pick up on both sides and you bring that route to us and say, okay, we've got this route. It makes absolutely zero sense for us to drive exactly the same route the next
Right.
day to pick up this can that's across the street.
okay,
Could we pick up half these cans or what this route, you could.
Oh, really?
You could manage that route
okay.
and then declare part of that load out of county, part of that load in county.
So then you just,
But you'd.
so what would be the,
find some way to estimate, I guess.
oh, really? So it needs to be
We've allowed
estimated to tell you.
PSI to do that for years because they go to Clark County.
Right, for sure, for sure.
So that's just on the driver to provide an estimation when they.
Well,
Right.
no, you would have to bring us a route. I mean,
A route,
your guys
yeah.
are gonna establish the route,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, mhm.
So you establish a route, you should.
No, that's great to
We're gonna
know.
pick up 35 cans that are out of county, and we're gonna pick up 45 cans that are in county, so.
Mhm.
That would be a 56%.
That's
split
super,
or something.
that's super to know. Yep, I did not know that.
But
but
yeah, I
that's-
mean, that's a waste of time and effort and gas.
No, yeah, it's, yep,
But yeah.
No, that's good to know.
But it still needs to be declared.
PSI,
And
it
then-
has to be declared,
and
yeah.
paid for still.
And
that,
maybe
yep.
that's where this water's got muddied and we've allowed that, and so now they're taking advantage of
Yeah.
that instead of.
For sure. Yeah, my whole thing, like I said before, the whole point of bringing this up is not for us to cause a war between me and you. It's more just, we're frustrated because we're abiding by the rules we feel like we're supposed to. But then they're coming in and chopping our prices in half because they can, because they're not spending $500,000 in gas to drive out to Mud Lake. And so they can go lower in prices, so then it hurts us like, man, we're trying our best, but these guys, because things aren't being caught, they can get cheaper prices for their customers. And so
So
that's where
in-
we're frustrated at.
I get, you go ahead and finish.
Yeah.
Then I'll.
Yep. This other thing, to be brought up, kind of a different turn of things, just more things that we've kind of felt frustration at, were the compactors from Melaleuca and Idahoan. So from my understanding, from what I've asked with Melaleuca and as far as I know with Idahoan, PSI have been dumping both of those compactors for years, and at the transfer station. And then both of them within 2 to 3 months of us taking over, we were told that we were no longer allowed to take them there, but we had to take them all up to the hill. And I understand, I heard some of the reasons, I guess, but I guess my frustration came from like, well, why did they get to do it for however many years? But then as soon as we take over, it's like, no, like, you're supposed to do this.
Okay.
I guess
so-
where I kind of frustrated at.
So let's address
Yeah.
that now while we're on
Yeah.
that subject. So
Great.
that, your statement is not 100% true.
Okay,
Melaleuca's cans started getting sent to the hill while PSI still had that contract.
oh, really? Okay,
And the reason behind that is Melaleuca changed the way that they were processing their product.
okay,
Some of those products we can't take at the transfer station. And they cause us issues at the transfer station where they can be direct dumped at the hill.
okay.
So that's not necessarily
What-
true.
what specific
You didn't get
products?
Picked on when you took it over. PSI was actually starting to have to take some of those loads to the hill, and
Okay.
the same with Idaho. I've had this conversation with Casey many times before you guys took that over.
Really?
Those potato flakes kill us at the transfer station.
Yeah, and that's what I was told.
Go
Yep.
airborne, everybody gets them, and if they're a wet product,
Wow.
then they squeeze out of our transfer, or out of our machines downstairs, they go all
Right.
over the floor. They
Yeah,
are just a total pain.
and I believe it. Yeah,
So that happened before you guys got that contract as well.
okay,
And I've been through the same thing with Casey being upset because, hey, you guys we used to could do this all the time.
yeah,
Well, we have a lot more public, we have a lot more trash. and
yeah,
These products are starting to cause some serious issues.
for sure.
So we need to direct haul them.
No, thank you for that explanation. And that was the explanation I got before. I didn't know that they were already told from PSI. And when I'd asked, yeah, but that's right, that's good. So I appreciate the
But
explanation.
the process that Melaleuca, that they use
Mhm.
to manufacture some of their products, or.
Just the powdery
Yeah,
stuff,
a
right?
lot,
Is
yeah, a lot
that's the
of
biggest issue?
Stuff.
Yeah,
And then also because of the liquids issue that we've had at Peterson Hill through DEQ, we've
Right.
had to change and regulate and
What
make
can go up.
adjustments with that as
Yeah,
well.
yep, yep. Yeah, and the liquids, I understand. That one I understand. Yeah, it was just, to me,
Powderized stuff, and I think that's where they had some energy drinks or something when you guys first took over that we were dealing with PSI. But I think it was an energy, and I could be wrong, but they had a product that was super dusty, and when they dumped it in the transfer station there again,
just super
that
cement.
mixes with
Yeah,
what liquids that we currently have in the
Right.
transfer station, and so then we have a gelatin or a gooey, sticky, nasty mess, and so.
yeah,
In order to mitigate that, we changed the different,
yeah,
revenue or avenues.
yeah. No, that makes sense. Makes sense. Yep. And I appreciate the explanations, really. It's really helpful because I guess to me, I felt like from the very beginning, when I came on as a driver about 6 years ago, I had many events at the hatch pit where it felt like we were just kind of like, just because we're the smaller guy, it was like it was expected for us to go above and beyond, and then the bigger guys, the big corporate, we couldn't really touch them, so it was like just let them do whatever. I had one of the experiences I remember very, very vividly is I pulled up and it was at the hatch pit, and I had dumped a load, and there is from Rockwell, and their pains because when people move in, they throw whatever garbage people are moving in from, and so. But this load only had a roll of carpet, and I was getting out, grab it, throw it back in the dumpster so I could take it to the transfer station. And while I was doing it, a guy came up, one of the employees, I don't know who it was just probably one of the just workers you guys get every once in a while.
Sure.
But it came up and just started just to chew me out. And I was like, my gosh, I'm picking it up right now. Like, there's no reason to chew me out. I'm trying my best. And then the same thing happened as I was there when my other drivers named Austin had the same thing happen to him. And then he came over to me and was like, man, they chew us out all the time. He goes, I'm picking him up. I'm like, yeah, I know, I'm with you. It's okay. Like, that's all we can do. And then we watched the PSI driver dump in, and he dumped what I would probably say was about 70% household. And when the guy walked over to go talk to him, the PSI driver turned to him and said, F you, don't talk to me, talk to my effing boss if you want to talk to somebody, and then drove off.
And he did.
Yep, and I believe it.
Boss got talked to.
Yeah.
And then they came and got to clean that up.
Yep, which
So
I,
you weren't treated unfair.
No, no.
No matter how it might have looked.
no, 100%. And I believe it. And I believe it. I guess,
Come back,
Yeah.
PSI's always had to come back.
yeah, I just feel like I've gotten more calls from our drivers saying that they're getting yelled at by employees when it's like, I feel like we're trying our best, but to be chewed out all the time is just frustrating.
And
And
to be
so,
honest with you, I ran the cat last week,
mhm,
last Tuesday, I ran the cat in the pit. Your guys are probably some of the best
Well-
employees that I've seen.
I
They come in, they don't back in on top of you until they're flagged in. And
appreciate
I
that.
seen a kid sit there the other day for 15 minutes and I kept thinking, why are you not backing in? And he just sat there.
Well, good.
And finally,
Well, thank you.
Brandon, I'm like, what the heck? And so then after he left, I asked him and he said, they wait until you either honk, which the horn
Yeah.
didn't work on the cat that day, but anyway, they wait. They are some of the best people that come in there because they do. So you guys have taught them well.
Well, thank you.
And
That's
I do
all I want to know. That's
We
my
appreciate
biggest
you
thing
guys
is, yeah.
Right, like,
Yeah.
we want to be the best partners in this with you.
Yeah.
If there's anything that we can ever do to make it easier for you guys, to make it better, like Colton and I are available.
And
we-
this
we
thing with
appreciate
Eagle Rock
that.
is very upsetting.
Yeah,
Because we have, as a county and the commissioners as well,
yeah,
have gone above and beyond the call of duty for Eagle Rock when it comes to our transfer station in Swan Valley.
oh, really?
We gave them bumps in fuel surcharges and things like that to kind of offset the expenses to
Really?
help them be able to still operate.
Yeah,
And
that's something we've never
give us the
tackled, and I'm
service
sure
or
it's a
provide
pain.
us the service.
Yeah,
And then we find out that this kind of stuff is going on. So
Yeah.
that's super frustrating for the
Yep.
county as well. So you guys aren't alone. in it.
no, and I believe it. And that's why, to me, that's why I was saying, the whole purpose of this is, I mean, we preach, I mean, almost every driver meeting we have, which is at least one a month, oftentimes two a month, we preach over and over again, like, to make sure we're doing what we can to help out the transportation in any way we can. And we're going to the hatch pit to make sure we're just saying, yes, sir, and we do it, and whatever we need to do, we do it. And so that's why, like, when I get those calls, it's like, man, like, cause I know that these drivers are like, we're trying our best, and then they feel like we're getting chewed out, and they feel like they're getting picked on. So I was like, you know what, I'll bring up the meeting, we'll talk about it. Another thing too, that I want to bring up, like you talked about, is the Eagle Rock thing, because our drivers, when they're heading up to the port, they're like, we'll see a PSI driver, but it's like, we rarely ever see an Eagle Rock truck out here. And it's just like, they get irritated, like, why can't we just go to her? I'm like, no, you can't go there. Like, it doesn't matter if they're doing, it, we can't, like, that's not options for us. And so, and I'm sure it is frustrating for you guys just because it's hard to manage. I mean, how do you cover that? You can't just be babysitters or like really interrogating them. And so it's hard to manage. And that's the whole reason why I wanted to put the air tags in to give you guys some sort of evidence to bring to Kim when you talk, if you do talk to him, or how that conversation goes. Just for the very fact of like, hey, like, we all got to abide by the same rules. Otherwise, it creates unfair advantages for those that are trying to undercut others. And so,
And the other thing that this brings to the county is, okay, we're talking about having to raise our rates again.
Yeah.
To the public.
yep,
And by them abusing this is costing us expenses
yeah.
that we shouldn't be having
Right.
to encounter. So now we're gonna have to raise our rates because of this.
yeah,
And it's just,
Yeah.
that stuff's.
well, I mean, yeah,
We kind of leave you guys be on your own, we're not gonna drive around and follow you every
Right.
day to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing. But in the same sense, you guys live here.
Yeah.
Okay, and both of you pay taxes, both of you are paying a landfill fee.
Yep.
So I would think that you would want the most bang for your buck.
right,
This is not, you're
Right.
not getting it. And Kim lives here as well,
Mhm.
and he runs a business here in Bonneville County, that's the frustrating part.
yep,
He's a taxpayer here as well, and he's bringing us out of county.
Yeah.
waste and then not.
yeah. Well, you know how much even one truck loads, and 3 of those trucks that came that one day is a lot. I mean, that's,
Oh, it's huge.
yeah, it's a lot.
I mean,
So-
we're processing
There-
way more trash than we can process
Yeah.
now,
yeah,
and we're overworking our equipment and
oh,
the
100%.
county, and,
Yep.
and then we find out that half of everything he could be bringing in, and I mean, this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is also not hard to tag. I mean, when they dump a load and you take a sample of that, you're gonna see addresses.
right,
Right, but we've.
I mean, I know
We've done
that's
that time
not,
and time again, and you see all kinds of addresses.
Yeah,
Just like
you do.
said, you put a can out,
yeah,
and everybody from Fremont County to Idaho Falls throws garbage in that can
Yeah.
if it's an open top.
yeah, especially those front loads.
That's a
Yep.
super, I mean,
Yep.
but the other, I mean, I'm not sure this is the form to try and solve this problem, but the other thing is, if you estimate how much each one should be bringing in based on their routes and say, once you've reached this limit, you gotta take it somewhere else, because this is the Bonneville County amount. If you're bringing in more than this, that's more than you can
Yeah,
account
that
for
would
with
be-
Bonneville County.
that would be
funds.
super hard because everything is variable.
It is. You could narrow close to that. You could. Each truck can carry, the average truck can carry about 300 trash cans to 400.
Right.
And so you could narrow close to the amount, but it would be very tough to try to figure that out for them. So,
So
Yeah.
what is it that you need from us? I mean, we're glad we
Yeah.
got this. We know Blair's frustrations with trying
Yeah.
to manage costs.
honestly, as far as an overall solution, I wish I had the answer for you. Cause like I said, I know how easy it is. I mean, for the first 4 years of us, when I worked here, I mean, every load I took from Rigby came to the hatch pit, and never once. I mean, it was as simple as just saying, oh, yep, it came from this street, cause that's the street I dumped earlier. And so and it's sad to say that that's what I had to do, but that's just what I was taught to do. And then I realized as I got further along, I was like, this is not what I'm supposed to do. So then that was Curtis, not to throw him under the bus. He's my brother-in-law, so I feel like I can, but that was when Curtis is the owner. So then I came to Curtis, I was like, we should just get our own landfill. I mean, we're dumping enough and you're growing enough, so let's just go figure out our own landfill. I mean, all we gotta do is go find a gravel pit that we can take over, and that's what worked out for us. And so, and it's been a great helpful for us, and hopefully it's been okay for you guys, for us to leave you guys over there. I'm sure you guys have been busy enough to hatch pit and trying to figure out where to go next and that stuff. So hopefully that was a help more than a hurt, but that was where that came from us, is it trying to be more morally correct. And that's where I feel like where this is, I feel like we're preaching to our drivers to be more morally correct, and they're frustrated, like, man, that 3-hour drive stinks. Like, it's not a fun drive, and half the time they're pulled into the port and they get chewed out by DOT because they're not compliant for whatever reason. Their blinker's not bright enough or whatever they want to say, and so they get frustrated, and so then that's more our own problems to deal with. And so,
But to answer your question, I think
Yeah.
it's more of just an awareness
Yeah.
right now to know, and leave it to you guys if you wanna have that conversation with
Oh,
him
we're definitely going to be a
DWS to
conversation.
have that, so that's
I
really the
was
point.
thinking about
Well, our
air
tax-
tags
other
and
tax.
and so.
No, Blair's thinking about something way different.
But again, thank you. We don't want to take more of your time.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that was the point.
So, quick question, long as
Mhm.
you guys are here. So if the cap, because we are looking at making some adjustments to our fees, how
Mhm.
would you guys feel about paying for every pound of trash that you brought to the basket?
Every pound. So pretty much similar to how Madison is or Bingham. Yeah, I mean, it would be,
At least that way, if they're sneaking it in from out of county, we're getting paid,
yeah,
at least a portion of
Yeah.
what we should pay, I guess.
yep. I mean, if I'm being honest, it still goes back to the customer in the long run, because right now, I mean, it's nothing, for us to dump. And so our prices, I mean, I've talked to some of the bigger, higher end guys over at Waste Management, and they look at our market and they say, I'll never touch your market. There's no money in it because you guys are so low on your trash fees. I mean, we're as low as $13 a month, and that's, I mean, the reality is $13 a month is nothing for them. I mean, they're looking for where they can charge 35 to $40 a month, and so that's
But if-
the reality is if you guys started doing that, we'd have to up our prices to higher like that.
You're going to get back into a position where you're gonna end up.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
$5 to $35
Yeah,
a month,
Yeah.
because we are going to get our money
right,
from you. And
Yeah.
you're gonna have to get it from them.
right.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, we do, and that's what sucks about this whole thing, I think, in a nutshell. Is that we've always tried to keep our prices low, so you guys could keep your
Yep.
prices low.
Yep,
And we all try to work together here, but I can see a pattern that's starting to evolve,
right.
which is probably not a good pattern now.
Yep. Which is a frustrating
We
pattern,
spent
I
a
guess.
lot of time with Casey from PSI. I believe that they, cause they have the software
Yeah.
to track their trucks
Mhm.
now. So I think it'd be a lot harder for them to do the out of county, sneak the out of county thing,
Yeah,
but.
yeah, and like I said,
this
our
other-
guys
These
see,
other two companies that you're talking
Yeah.
about.
our guys see PSI drivers out there. They've never complained about them. They've only ever said that, one of the drivers in particular, he's like, I've seen maybe an Eagle Rock truck once a month out there. Because I see PSIs almost every time I'm going out there, because usually they're all going out at the same time. I mean, that place, they don't let a commercial vehicle come in past 4 o'clock.
Right.
And so all of us, we book it and fill our trucks up as fast as we can before 3, and then run out there as fast as we can and hopefully make it. And so we're all there at the same time pretty often. And so, and that, to me, PSI, from what I understand, as much as I would love to knock on PSI, because it's just fun to knock on a guy that's a national company, not the local guy. But unfortunately, I'm here picking on the local guy that is Eagle Rock, but it's just because that's just what I've seen and what I'm hearing from our drivers as well. So yeah, PSI, I have nothing to complain about for them. Everything I see, they're abiding by the same rules. So,
Well, and I'm not saying they're perfect either.
No, for
Just
sure.
They have the software now. And
Yeah.
the trucks that track those
Yep.
trucks, and so. If we ever have a question, we can call out there and they
Yep.
can actually pull it up and show you the,
Yeah. And we do too, just so you're aware. We've upgraded all that same software all the last 2-3
That
years.
little thing here that this could cause some serious heartburn down the road, but I just, we've talked about internally having a meeting with all of the commercial people, the city and as well.
Okay,
And coming together and saying, hey, we're gonna have to raise our rates. What if we put this burden back on you guys, and how will that affect your businesses?
Yeah. right,
If we do so.
Yep.
Because we've got to come up with a way to pay for this.
Yeah.
And we haven't been paying for it in the past.
Yeah.
And so now we're kind of getting our backs up against the wall to where we have to, well, not myself, but. these
Right.
three-
yeah,
These three have taken on that burden, and now they've got to figure out how, and they're gonna come to us and say, hey, what is the what can we do?
yeah.
And
Yep.
we're gonna come
It's
to
just
you.
like your
and say,
business, it's pretty simple.
Oh,
If
yeah.
it's fee-based and it's supposed to
Right.
be fee supported, then it has to be.
Yeah.
We can't subsidize with property taxes. Or something that's fee-based.
Yep, yeah, exactly. So like you said, it would definitely be a hurt to us, so we'd have to jump prices pretty tremendously. I mean, we've been nervous about even jumping a price $1, and that would be a $15 jump if we had to start paying what Madison pays, And so yeah, and that's part of the reason why it's brought up, but like I said, I don't necessarily have the solutions for it. It's more just hopefully to give you more information to know where to go and hopefully see what we can figure out from there, but.
We do not want somebody to be getting an unfair business advantage. spent time fighting that in my career, and I don't think it's right, so I appreciate that you brought this to our attention. But it also does have to pay for itself, and I've been trying to figure out how can we let taxpayers and public know how very expensive garbage is, because they think, you know, a magic wand comes and takes it away, and it
Yeah.
doesn't take it away, it leaves it right here, and we gotta pay for it, we gotta
Yep.
meet DEQ standards, and we have very expensive equipment to
Mhm.
replace. And people just don't understand that. What they do understand is that when they move here, they think they've died and gone to garbage heaven. with a break,
Yep. You're 100%
Because
right.
they're paying 3 times as much where they come from.
Yep, yep. It was funny when Ammon raised their prices, I got probably about 30 calls when everyone got the email about Ammon raised their prices like $2. And they're all freaking out, and I was like, man, you guys don't understand. Like, we've got it pretty good over here. We don't want to claim about $2. So, yep, so,
Thank you, guys.
yeah.
Thank
For
you.
what you guys do.
Forest Service,
Say that one more time.
who's doing the Forest Service dumpsters around Palisades?
As far as I know, it was a contract that went up. We were sent an option to bid, but we didn't ever send a bid in. We didn't feel like we were ready for it at the time, and so we didn't send a bid in. My guess would be PSI, but I don't know for a fact on that one.
So it was in the past, I haven't seen their dumpsters show up yet this year, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of those cost cutting measures. Not picking up that. Okay,
Okay,
thank
you
you.
guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
They're a big station, that's what they are. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you, appreciate it. Thank you, Blair. Yeah, appreciate it. I'm an arts mission person, so it's good to actually kind of put a face to it. Thank you.
Thanks for
He's the troublemaker,
Yeah.
that's all you need to
That's
know.
why I've avoided it, because I know.
If you're gonna list those air tags on Facebook Market, then.
Well, I wish I'd get them back. I look at them like, that was $60 now, still in the.
I know.
And it's in the garbage.
Yeah, but in my head, I was like, man, either I follow him for the rest of the day, and that's
Oh,
more
no.
money out of his money, so I was like, $60 is worth it, so. But yeah.
Sounds.
I'd have stuck it to the truck, you know.
Well, I didn't wanna touch their property, so. I don't
What
know,
is that?
because when he goes to talk to Kim, I don't wanna be involved, so, but appreciate you guys,
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I know, I was watching.
A bounty to whoever gets that big fly.
I
That's
was
better.
wishing I had a assault rifle here, I'd have
Give him the
told
salt.
them to duck and.
Those damn.
Ready,
salt
duck.
rifles. Johnny loves
It's
it.
like a hair gel, it is,
Might have come to you outside.
that's, I think it's getting cold, it's getting stupid.
Yeah.
We have some flats, designing spacious
Well, I feel like we
skies.
learned a little more about garbage today, so there's that.
You
Yeah,
can't.
you learn the frustrating side of it.
Probably
something
that learn the bit.
Got it.
It's impressive you got it in his debilitated state. Okay, we have been given the final plat and development agreement for Spacious Skies Subdivision. Anything you guys want to say about that?
This subdivision is on the west side. It is a large lot subdivision. We are going to struggle with plowing this in the wintertime. They've been told that. At one point in time, I asked them whether they wanted to make it a public road privately maintained, and I don't know that I ever heard anything back from that.
Ask them.
Can
Ask the
we,
developer.
can we tell them it's, I mean, here's the thing, I'm going to start asking questions about these subdivisions, because it's one of the biggest concerns for county and city residents is all these subdivisions out in the county, and then we have, you know, when we have the Sean Branson issue, hearing that there's 300 HOAs in the county was the estimate. It's like, this is crazy. Are we in the urban business? We do not want to be in the urban business. I don't know our planning and zoning well enough. I understand that stuff like this has been properly done. But I mean, beyond you guys and the snow plowing services, we've got law enforcement, we've got fire. I mean, law enforcement's, and you know, directly out of our budget too. And I just am ready to step back and say, what are we doing here? Are we too far down the road to do anything about it? But with something like this, can we start calling these private roads? I don't know what the answer to that is from either you or Austin.
right now in the standards, if they comply with the standards and they build it to our standards, they can call it a public road and publicly maintained. We can't require them to make it a privately maintained road unless they don't meet our standard.
And why is that? Why can't we why can't we change whatever standard we have to say you
We
have to
could.
privately maintain?
We could, but that option isn't in the standards. right
I
now.
understand that,
So you
but
have to-
Well, and I think part of this is, so like you look at this Spacious Skies plat that's clear west of town, so what they've done here is they've taken their division rights that they have on their 300 acres of property, clustered them together to plat them into this 17 lot subdivision, right? So I think it would be, we have different standards in the subdivision ordinance too for ag density plats. And I think you could just make a requirement in there if you wanted to, that ag density plats have to be privately maintained roads.
Well,
But-
and that's one type of subdivision, but
Yeah.
not.
But it's
the
not,
answer
that's
for
what
the
I'm
other.
saying, I think these ones you're gonna see further out, right, than you would around city limit type growth areas, but.
So where out,
No,
it
this
says
is-
Highway 20, but what's the?
This is out past Moyes Park.
2 miles.
2 miles west of Moyes Park.
On the south side.
Yeah,
they're helpful.
and driving out through there, honestly, I don't know
Lava.
why anybody would wanna live out there, but. Lava rocks and sagebrush.
They have that other subdivision out there, I can't remember
Miles
what it's
west
called, it's been there for
Always
years or so.
Not this far out.
Actually, started.
Right, but that other one is similar,
But
it's like
then
there's,
road.
well, I don't know why anybody wanted to live out there. I can't remember what it's called, but it's north of town. and-
Density plat. They're all 5 acre lots.
Okay, so your recommendation is they've completed all the requirements and we should approve it?
Isn't that where Frank grazes his cattle? Is it
It's not,
Not here.
it's further,
further out than that?
well,
Rain grazes the cattle probably closer into
yeah,
town and out by the gun range.
further south, yeah.
But this is further.
So are they
west.
downwind from his processing plant?
They're
The
west.
prevailing wind does not blow
No.
this way, no.
Yeah.
When the wind does blow that way, then they'll all complain about.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I've been at his processing plant a couple times and it doesn't stink, whatever they're doing out there, they're doing
They
it
had
right.
It started to.
They had a,
Couple of months.
they had
did
a
it?
problem.
Oh, really? Yeah, cause I've been out there, a couple times. I have
They-
never smelled that.
Yeah,
They
I-
had
Did, huh?
yeah. He's
Bad
driving by on the
liner,
highway.
had a bad liner in
I
their
wonder
pump, so they had
what
to
they've
stop
done different.
Something stopped.
processing while they fixed it. And
Oh,
and it got stinky.
Okay, so your recommendation is that they've complied and we should accept it?
Correct.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the final plat and development agreement for Spacious Skies Subdivision on the recommendation of Road and Bridge that they've complied with all standards and requirements.
Second that.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. So the paper one gets signed and the Mylar ones?
Yeah, there's 4 of them on this one.
it does this plats only.
Yeah, but that's for the Mylar. It's a special pen.
Yeah, I don't know why they sent 4. The others only have 2.
So it is for like past 125th.
It's almost at 105th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not out, not out. What's on
No, it was, me either.
But there's that farm, that guy that has all that machinery.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's right across the street from where they do the bank. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. One oh fifth goes out to the raceway, isn't it?
It goes north of the.
Yeah. Something like that.
Okay.
Next is the final plat for Beaches Corner. Division 1, first amended. So this is the first amended division. This is right by Beaches Corner, obviously. There's no public improvements with it. It's just an internal amendment of what was there previously,
North or south of,
north of 49th north.
They spelled Beaches Corner wrong.
south of 26.
Yes. So it's where, it's the portion of that development
Where
that was
those
approved that they were
24
gonna do
homes
the 8 plexes on the inside, and they changed it to just do the townhomes everywhere instead of doing the big 8-plex buildings. That was what the amendment was for.
That's one we've, I think, been successful with, is this was supposed to be
Reducing the number of-
originally this was 8 buckers,
Reducing the density.
yeah,
A little bit, yeah.
and
There's still plenty though.
yes,
They're still fun.
And Beaches.
but
Corner-
District 93 says there won't be any students from the north side of 49th going to that elementary school.
That's what they say now.
Yeah. So they don't want a crosswalk, so,
That's what they say now. I've heard that before.
Okay, and I mean, my same concerns here, but we really need to look at our standards to. I mean, I'm asking myself, have we chosen to make Bonneville County an urban area with all of the expenses that come along with that?
So this particular area, this is all in the Iona area of impact. So any
for
new
that-
development out there has a note on it that says as soon as the city of Iona is adjacent, they'll annex the property.
How long do you think it'll be till it's adjacent?
It might be a while, yeah, it just
Start
depends
annexing.
on
What's those do?
if they do or don't start annexing.
just
Yeah,
do.
there's only 2 for that one.
I'll make a motion that we accept the Beaches Corner Division 1 first amended final plat and development agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Next is another subdivision.
I'll follow Division 2.
This is just
Yeah,
below
but,
Rim
yeah.
Rock.
and Rimrock's not gonna be contiguous to anything for a long time, is it?
No,
No.
this has the city of Ammon annexation note in it, but I don't know.
They're not gonna annex this.
No.
I mean, these are large.
Too large
lots
a
again.
lots, they didn't
6
really-
acres.
There's no incentive for a city to annex this type of subdivision.
So these are going up 21st to the right, north, south.
So it's right below where Rimrock is now, so if you're driving down
Off of Valverde.
Foothill Drive, there's Valverde on the right, it fills in those areas there. One is the west side of Foothill, and this is the east side of Foothill.
And this is, it's essentially Curtis's father wanting more space between him and his neighbors. He got crowded out of Fowler's Point evidently. Now he wants to make another multi-million-dollar house on a bigger lot.
The one with the lake.
So that's Curtis's house on the south side of Foothill. This would be on
Curtis
the
who?
north side.
Ward Guardian Homes.
Do we have a development agreement for Beaches Corner also? Those.
The lake up there.
Oh, you got it?
Okay.
I'm having trouble
Weird
keeping my
stuff.
pots watered in my little acre, I'm
We've got a lake.
I make a motion, well, I guess I'll ask on the record first, the Hog Hollow Division 2 final plat development agreement meets all road and bridge standards and planning and zoning standards.
Well,
Requirements.
the plat.
Then I will make a motion to accept the Hog Hollow Division 2 final plat and development agreement.
Second.
All in favor? I do have to laugh about the name.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
I only
I
asked
live in
them
the
about
Hog
that
Hollows.
about 4 times, if they were sure that's what they wanted the name
Hollow
to
in
be.
St. Anthony too.
Huh.
The Hog Hollow
I
area.
mean, we don't even have any wild bears, wild pigs.
Yeah, just two coming down from Canada.
I mean, yeah. Are they? Excellent. That's great. Nasty destructive things. Beasts. Okay, the review, comment, and potential signing a memorandum of understanding with the City of Idaho Falls on the 15th East, 49th South intersection project. I should note that since Delta was here, no other members of the public have been here.
Does any of you have questions about the joint powers agreement with the city of Idaho Falls?
Maybe you can explain to us just briefly exactly what it is. I mean, I think we've talked about it on numerous occasions, but.
Yeah, so this agreement basically says there's gonna be some shared cost in the development of the signal at 15th and 49th South. The city of Idaho Falls is the sponsor for the project, just like, the Bonneville County was the sponsor for the one at Holmes or 5th and 49th South. So this is basically a mirror image of that agreement. It's just they're getting ready to do that construction and stuff, so.
We're getting ready to meet with the mayor and city council this week, just a informal meet and greet. But I've been trying to kind of collect information on interfaces. Did this go well? Do we have any problems getting to this agreement?
I don't think we've had any problem in getting to the agreement. I mean, it is pretty much a mirror image of what we had them sign on the previous one. It just does commit funds
Right,
to a project.
but on
and,
both of those, you were able to work well with your city counterpart. There weren't any
Yeah,
big disputes about you should
No.
pay this much and we're not gonna pay that.
no.
And who was your counterpart that you talked to?
Well, so I worked with a couple of them, but Chris Frederickson and Chris Canfield are the
Okay.
primary contacts.
Okay, cool. I'll bring that up. Just say we recently did this and all went well.
We're still in the middle of it, but yeah.
Right.
It's going.
It's going well.
The mayor seems to think that everybody's butting heads all across the place, and I just don't think that's true.
Her in the mirror.
Oh, I work pretty well with staff at City of Idaho Falls.
That's, I mean, I've asked about that across the county and other reports I'm getting, I just wanted to have something specific. All right, then I would make a motion that we sign the memorandum of understanding with the City of Idaho Falls regarding the 15th East 49th South intersection project.
Second,
All in favor?
I,
I believe Ashley has one that has a few name corrections on it. Did you bring that in?
Yeah.
So
Now he do a copy.
they've already signed it?
I just did.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
the next matter is the Rock River Division 5 street lighting update.
I got a hold of, Mr. Johnson, and he said he hadn't gotten a commitment from Levi yet, but, it's because he's apparently on vacation out of
Are they-
town, so I really don't have much to update there.
And that was on them going
Was-
and doing the work to put the holes in.
Okay.
The
Where's Rock
dubbed
River?
off the landowners.
It's
that are
off of
building
Ammon
houses.
Road, just off the east side, right before you get to the intersection of Ammon and 49th North.
Yeah, landowners had filled in the holes for the light poles.
Oh, yeah. Cause they didn't ever put holes in the holes.
So I'm hoping to hear something, a week or so when Levi gets back off vacation.
Do you want us to put that back on the agenda in a 2 or 3, 4 weeks to check on, or?
I'll just bring it to you when I have some information, if that works.
Yeah.
And then the next matter is review and sign change order number 1 for the 25th East 49th North intersection.
So change order number 1 is a decrease change order. And it comes about because instead of doing a full-blown SWIP plan or stormwater pollution prevention plan, we did a low erosivity waiver, which I filled out with DEQ and everything. And so this is a decrease of $875.
Hope that was worth.
I
it.
thought you were gonna say 175,000.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. Hope it was worth
Sorry.
the time of filling out the waiver.
Well,
That's one more
Evidently.
payment for your new truck.
One money. Any money that's saved is money well worth the time.
It's just for fun.
there will come other change orders where it's probably not gonna be a decrease. The next
Like
change
this one.
order, no, this is actually a net $0 change order. But it does change the asphalt from a special class asphalt SP3 to an SP5. The reason they have proposed this is they already have an SP5 mixed design that's approved. They don't have an SP3 mixed design approved, and so this saves them time and money. The SP5 is actually a more dense asphalt, and it's probably overkill for this intersection. But so I didn't think it was a problem, and where it's a net $0 change order, I felt that it was a good idea.
Okay, then I make a motion to review, and did I already do change order number 1? To review and sign change order number 1 and accept that change order.
Second.
All in favor?
I. And I'm also making a motion to review and sign change order number 2 regarding the same intersection.
All in favor?
Look at that.
Told you they were easy going. Just give you a little update on 25th and 49th. They had a lot of people out there last weekend. They did have a full closure for 3 days. They did get the pipe across the intersection. They made great work of it. They did a lot of work in a short amount of time. They're hoping to pave that back this Saturday. They're struggled yesterday with the Rocky Mountain power pole that was there. They couldn't get it out of the ground. They're trying to figure out what was going on with that. They may end
Roll
up
down the grade.
cutting it on. Well, it may have been concrete, but there's a gas line right next to it. There's a power line right next to it. There's other stuff right next to it.
And then,
They did break some chains with a great big excavator trying to get it out of the ground. They couldn't. So it may be cut off and abandoned and very well marked, and so in the future, when ITD comes through there, they're gonna have to deal with it, so. But otherwise, they are hoping to get that paid back this weekend. The equipment for the signal is on lead time. They're hoping that by the end of July, it will be here, and so we'll put a stop on the time frame for the contract while we're waiting for that equipment, but the poles will be up and ready to string up the signal and put it online when we get the equipment.
That'll be good. I heard that traffic was backed up from 20 to Iona.
Oh, yeah.
On that other road.
It was, and it was backed up from Highway 26 going northbound, and
Okay, yeah.
it was high, yeah, it's been backed up, and because it's been backed up, other roads have also been backed up
Yeah,
a lot.
it looks like it's around.
So,
go over, wash over.
I really appreciate you guys getting this stuff to us in advance, so I can at least look at it. The agreements and stuff, because when we have this many, there's no way that in the meeting I can read through it. So getting that in advance is great, and if we can have it a week in advance, I don't know if that's possible, but it's even better because. I mean, the last couple of days have been drinking from a water hose, and we were at a conference before that, so it's been hard to. Get the time to read it. So, but I really appreciate getting it all. Ashley's been making sure we have it in a file where we can find it all. I keep telling people Roger is not here anymore. This is the first time we've set eyes on some of this stuff. When it was the 1 millionth time that he had, so. For me, it was really helpful.
I have printed out a copy of the road and bridge standards. That I can leave here with you if you would like to read through them. It was last adopted and done in 2021. And those standards are in here. You may specifically want to mention, look at the landscaping requirements and what it says about landscaping in the right of way. Because it's very specific about what road and bridge could do if we absolutely needed to.
I have no questions about that, Lance. These are simply property rights.
But it's not their property, and that's
That's
where.
what I mean. It's not their property, so.
Yeah.
Well, that's, yeah, we've had a lot of complaints from Cloverdale with that fiber thing now and. they're
Yeah.
Digging up my yard. Since like.
Yeah.
Send them a copy of the plat, there you go, easements here, they've got the right.
And in Cloverdale, I don't know if you saw the plat or have investigated it. That one was platted in 1974. Where it has curb and gutter, there is a 6.5 foot space behind the curb and gutter to the right of way line. And then there's an 8 foot utility easement. So 14.5 foot behind the curb and gutter is where those utility companies are allowed to be.
Like right at the front porches.
In some of the cases, it's pretty.
And they don't have to put it back the way they found
They
it.
should put it back.
They do most of
They
the
should
time.
put it back.
Just saying,
But they don't.
They don't have to, and when they did it in Berkeley Park, I had the project manager's phone number, cause everybody in my neighborhood was at my house. Hey, what do I need to do about this? So I finally got the project manager's phone number, so everybody who's I've talked to, I've given them that same contact and said, if you have concerns, just call Fibercom. So here's the project manager that does all of this in the area.
Can we
Yeah.
have that number?
Yeah. I'll find it. I sent it to a lady the other day, so.
So is there ever any coordination between city and county regarding the road construction?
Quite often, yeah.
So. They're gonna close First Street shortly, right?
On that one, I'm not coordinating with them
Okay.
because
Well, but, cause that's an Ammon thing, but they've torn up First Street between Woodruff and. Hit to do resurfacing or whatever it is that they're doing. So it's like, couldn't have stayed, another. Month before,
so there's a lot of times when those boundaries get crossed,
Yeah.
we talk a lot. But there's a lot of times, if it's wholly within the city of Idaho Falls or wholly within the city of Ammon, we don't know about it.
yeah,
So,
I just drove down there last night, I'm like. Said they got it down to one lane, and everything's torn up.
yeah. There is a lot of coordination, but it doesn't happen on every project.
well, and people just don't understand. It's just like wear and tear at home, 2 people live in my house all year long till the kids come, and then there's 11 people in my house and everything breaks because it's being used
Sure.
5 times as much.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with roads. All the traffic makes a difference.
Yeah.
Everything breaks, everything has to be fixed, everything gets worn out.
And construction is hardly ever convenient.
But
Right, it's just not going to be. And we don't have very much time to do it here, so it does feel extreme. You should just. Ready to go?
we done?
Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna tell you, I sent a big long email to the state fire marshal yesterday. I'm waiting for his response on clarification on a bunch of
Yeah.
different things. Because I want it in writing, Because I don't want him to just tell me on the phone, I want him to respond back to me, and then we can give that to the sheriff and have this is what they're okay with, yet give it to Marco to work on the legislation. And then regarding your subdivision thing, I did meet with Lisa and Catherine Smith this Monday. We met for about 2 hours and we're talking about different challenges between city and county subdivisions and especially properties that are on city boundaries and how the city of Idaho Falls has not been willing in a lot of cases to let them hook up to their utilities, even if it's a property away. And then when they get there, there's no way for the city to annex it, and we're stuck doing the maintenance of the roadways. Lisa Burtonshaw is gonna take that back to council. They wanna work on a solution for getting it a path and process that we are extending utilities, and then they can take those over, so we're not creating these island problems for our public works to maintain with inside city limits, so.
Thanks, that's.
We're
important.
slowly working on some of that stuff.
Yes, I know. I don't want my comments to sound like you aren't.
No, I know.
I understand you are, but I also
Jim
think,
Francis said, we have solved that problem. With regards to utilities, expanding utilities. That's what Jim Francis said at my last meeting.
Yeah.
So one other
Okay.
thing, 105 East, I drove down Monday, and it needs some attention.
Yeah.
And I sent a text to, Ray Shooter about that the other day. And yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Walker thought that it had been paved. It has not been paved. I drove down it yesterday afternoon and, I sent another, so please.
No, I drove down this morning.
you were
I
mistaken.
was just looking to the first, the,
Yeah, it looks blacker because of all the trucks.
yeah, a lot of tire.
Probably
Yeah.
not, but it's not paved.
So are they coming
Thank
down?